Non-fungible tokens? How about no freaking thank you? I'm Andrew Hamilton, and this is Uplink.
I'm Royden and Andrew, and that was a great line to start. No, non-fungible tokens, NFTs for the layman like me. I think that you're seeing a lot of this being perpetuated. I've talked about sports and stuff a lot, but you're seeing this a lot online and on Twitter of people purchasing even like it looks like playing cards and stuff like that. But this is now gone over into the video game business. Yeah. What is going on?
The biggest place for it to not be is exactly where it ended up, and it was my first concern when I heard about NFTs. I know that sounds silly, but I was like, this is going to get out of hand real fast. And I was right. It started back about 3 months ago whenever multiple companies came out and had board meetings where they were like, oh, we're heavily invested in things like NFTs and cryptocurrency.
I don't even know what it means.
And I'm like, get out of here with that. Because for those of you that don't know, a non-fungible token is a receipt that exists on a blockchain that exists in a server bank, essentially. So you are paying for proof that you have a JPEG or a 3D model or whatever that exists in one place only. But the thing about that is that means nothing, because you can copy and paste, you can screenshot NFTs, you can say that, and the people who are heavy into NFTs, they will tell you, well, no, but yours is a copy. Come on,
you're quite literally not having anything physical, which kind of defeats the purpose. Like if you were trading Pokemon cards, if you were trading a Michael Jordan rookie card, you would have the physical property.
For my Pikachu rookie card.
Yeah, exactly. The thing that doesn't, but like NFTs doesn't exist. The thing with trading cards, or kind of what this is based around, or videos or anything, like NFTs can even be videos. Like I can go.
It can be literally anything that can exist in a specific space at a specific time on the internet, and that's kind of where the problem is, though. We're already kind of in an industry that is inundated with microtransactions and premium currencies to help make games more directly profitable in a way where they don't have to keep pushing out new paid content. They can push out free content and then have it subsidized by DLC or microtransactions.
Yeah, anytime that you've seen like a new season of Call of Duty Warzone, just go and look on those add-ons. That's basically what we're talking about. But then now they're trying to get people to write. If you had to describe it to me, like what we had to do last week as the layman, like they're now trying to sell that to people, or people are trying to buy certain things, like certain skins, certain weapons, or anything beyond that, so that they own that. So then you maybe eventually in the future have to buy a certain skin or a certain weapon from them directly.
Right. So the problem that exists with this right now is not even necessarily the concept of it. Microtransactions already exist. So the NFT is a pointless addition to that process. You're getting less out of an NFT than you would get out of a microtransaction, because at least with the microtransaction, it's a visible in-game item. Most of these things that are being sold as NFTs are either the promise of something in-game, way down the line, maybe, or they are art pieces from the game that you then own a file of, or a receipt that goes to a file of, which is ridiculous. But the big thing is weapon skins were one of the first things that were turned into an NFT through Ubisoft for Ghost Recon Ghost Recon Breakpoint. And immediately after, they had 2,000 unique skins for weapons that they sold as NFTs. Putting aside the environmental damage that kind of stuff does.
Which I didn't know about, which we'll get into here. I had no idea how much Bitcoin farming or anything like that does to the environment.
For the amount of money that people paid for those, they found immediately within 15 hours of those being sold out, they found that there were about 150 of them already for sale for 4 times their value on aftermarkets as NFT sales, which quickly gets out of hand, because if you're just someone who replicates over and over again, and this has become a huge problem across art industry and gaming alike, people just stealing NFTs and then selling them as their own NFTs, to make money off of something that they didn't create, which has become a massive problem, especially for artists in the 3D modeling business have been getting ripped off pretty heartily left and right.
Well, yeah, and this kind of goes back to, it seems like this goes back to the conversation that we had last week of like non-union workers and things like that. So they'll do all the work, they'll create all of these things mostly, and then somebody will just be like, I own it now.
Yeah,
even though,
it's the ultimate exploit on that market to be able to just say, oh, well, this is mine now, and I'll sell it to you, and you, and you, and you, and yeah, I totally made that. That's mine. And then someone's like, oh, that's not really yours. And you're like, oh, no, I have the NFT receipt from when I bought it.
We're not talking about like a Picasso. It's not a one-of-a-kind thing, but somebody did make it.
Nothing on the internet is one of a kind. And that's the biggest problem with NFTs.
Right.
You can save an image or a video or download pretty much anything if you know what you're doing. So there is no real one true version like art pieces in real life.
Mm-hmm.
There is no one true version. They keep telling you there is because that's how they're selling you on it. But that's not how the internet works. It's file that can be copied and replicated as many times as it does. It does not matter if it's the original file or not. It didn't lose any value over the time.
Right.
Whereas you can't just replicate a painting and say that it's the original because it's clearly not.
Somebody will call you out on that. Also, you can kind of get in trouble for that.
You can get in a lot of trouble.
So why do gaming studios want this? What is the end game? Because like you said, if microtransactions already exist, which we've seen that studios like 2K, like Blizzard, like Ubisoft, like any game now has probably
most every
add-ons that you can buy.
Especially games that feature multiplayer. So
what's the end game here for them to like make money off of this?
Well, that's what they want to know because they don't know.
Right.
Specifically, talking about like these boardroom meetings that were happening. EA's CEO was talking about, we want to get into the meta stuff and into the NFT stuff. I have no idea what that looks like now, and we're just gonna play it by ear. And so they don't even know what they're looking to do with it. They just know that it's a hot button thing to do, so they're gonna go do it.
Somebody whispered Bitcoin in his ear one time. He's like, hey, that sounds great.
He's like, did you say different kind of money? I'm in.
Decentralized currency.
Yeah. You decentralize me,
Yeah, exactly.
Let's get in on that.
It seems like another way, honestly, really, that people are trying to make money. And like, I'm an idiot. I don't know much about this. I don't know how you would end up owning something because like I said, in like the sports world, for example, or movies or anything like that, you can literally take a screenshot, or I can go on YouTube and I can watch that play.
Right.
Or I can see what this looks like. I can go on Google and see what this card looks like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, or take a screenshot of something and I just have it on my phone for a screensaver or a background now. So it'll be interesting to see when all these artists put in all this work to do this, and then all of a sudden Chad from Iowa has like, I own this gun skin now that you made. Like, I don't know how that's going to replicate.
That's going to get in a whole other thing. But I think the most telling thing about this situation has been the developer response. Because while corporate's telling them that they have to go out and make NFTs and invest heavily in this metaverse subject, a lot of developers are like, for what? How does it improve the game? What does it add for the consumer? How am I making something worthwhile for people? Because this is not what I signed up for.
Well, didn't the game just recently, they rioted, basically, like they dropped it?
And players are straight up saying that they don't want this. So last week, or this week, might have been this week.
It's all running together.
We definitely know what day it is. Don't worry about it. Stalker 2, a game coming to Xbox that's kind of like a survival first-person shooter game, announced its plans for its own metaverse, where you could be a meta-human and you could invest in cryptocurrency and buy NFTs in the game, which may result in you being put into the game as an NPC for players to interact with. That would be a permanent NPC. But they're not going to do that for everyone. That's a lot of extra work to put on themselves.
And be like top spenders, probably.
And I can't stress enough how much this used to be like a Kickstarter goal. You would ask people to help fund the game, and I'll put you in the game for helping me make sure the game got made. But now they're like, buy the game and then invest in the NFT so that we maybe get put into the game. So it's a secondary purchase.
Can you imagine if you bought something or you tried to buy an NFT or bought into an NFT and they're just like, I will get to it. They just never do.
Yeah, you know, like 20 Ethereum or whatever the crypto that they were selling with. And it's
Dogecoin.
Like you may Dogecoin, of course, yeah. You may have gotten into this and possibly had a chance to be an NPC. But what if you don't?
Right.
You know, what did you pay for? You paid for an entry, but you already have entry into the game. You purchased the game. So it's this separation that almost exists on top of the escalation of DLC. We went from people, you know, rioting back in the early 2000s about horse armor DLC for Oblivion, which was $2.99. Everyone's like, you're charging for armor? To now you got to pay $15.99 for one skin for your character, so you can look kind of cool during this season. But you know, next week there will be $15 skins up that are new.
For anybody that plays 2K every single year, me, the idiot that plays 2K every single year, it is literally like you're buying a jersey. Like you have to buy like a Michael Jordan jersey now. I keep going back to that, like, or a LeBron James jersey. Now it's so expensive. It's like $5 to get the VC to download that.
We're gonna go into the whole sports franchises at the beginning of next year. I got a podcast planned out for that.
Okay.
We're gonna see if we maybe get Chris Williams in here. He doesn't know anything, but he's good to have around.
Yeah.
No, but I do want to go into that more in depth, because that's a whole separate industry that's been built up, and people are finally starting to get sick of it. But yeah, that industry where that stuff is the most prominent, dominant part of their of their income is susceptible to this NFT stuff more than anyone else, because the people that are the big spenders in that community will buy whatever it takes to get the ultimate version of their team with the ultimate
very quickly
swag,
too,
and they will invest in that stuff heavily. And also across the world, a majority of the people who are getting invested heavily into NFTs are previous people who invested heavily into fantasy sports leagues and stuff. So you see a lot of that kind of crossover between these things, and it makes things like NBA, FIFA, Madden, any of those games prime targets for this type of behavior.
Anything with an ultimate team or an ultimate mode is really kind of it's going to be a kick in the teeth, because you know, you play these games now, it's like we talked about this last week, you paid $60 to, and it seems like old dudes yelling at clouds now, because like, but if you have a kid and that kid gets into 2K and all of a sudden they accidentally have access to your bank account or your card or whatever, all of a sudden you're going to find like, oh, how did you rack up $1,000 in charges on 2K? It happens a lot.
Always check into your parental controls if you got kids playing on your console.
Or on your phone. It's there's stories of, oh, I racked up $700 in Candy Crush add-ons. Like, how does that work?
I used to work at GameStop, and the number of time I had parents come in and tell me, my kid spent $500 on V-Bucks. What do I do about that? And I had to say, I can't do anything about that. You need to contact someone who's involved in that process.
In the game.
That's not me.
I just sold you a hard copy of whatever you wanted. But the thing with this is I just don't, getting back to the NFT, I just don't see the end game for how it would last on top of what DLC already is.
Right, and that's kind of like the weirdness about this, is that typically when studios start making heavy investments, there's something that kind of reason backing up the initial investment into it from a business standpoint. Like DLC became a more popular and easily digestible way to sell players additional content, while also not having to push $30 DLC packs or push map packs out every few months. You can put out one major map change every season. Disc. Yeah, exactly. That kind of stuff. You can put one major map pack out a season and then just feed a steady stream of more cosmetic content that people can pay for to keep supporting that game. That's how games like Call of Duty Warzone, Rainbow Six Siege, Fortnite, those games are able to be sustained strictly off their cosmetic DLCs that move their team forward without having to invest in significantly large changes to their
Yeah, and I mean,
games.
like Fortnite was the market setter for that. They're the market setter for a lot of things now. Unfortunately,
they were the first ones to really get the monetization right.
And it's crazy that they've figured that out. They're like, hey, what if we just make a game that's free, but then we'll make just tenfold off of,
and we'll just invite anyone we can think of to this game.
Yeah, and that's going to be one of the ones that I wouldn't be surprised if they try to get into like the Metaverse or whatever that means, which is also run by Facebook. So
Epic Games has already talked about creating their own Metaverse, but they also believe that Fortnite in and of itself is the singularity of what a Metaverse is.
And not wrong.
Because it will be the crossroads for all crossovers that exist, and right now they're kind of not wrong. They've had pretty much anything that you can think of has been in
they have backing. They have right now. It's like they have backing from Marvel. They have backing from Disney.
They've had DC, Marvel, Star Wars. They had Dune for some reason.
I'm sure Denis Villeneuve
James was in there.
Really loved that.
Yeah, he was like
exactly how you should watch
my masterpiece. You watch it through Fortnite.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because like I said, I don't see the end game on how they make money here, especially if other people are owning your content that you have created. So maybe I can't see the forest through the trees with this, but like, I'm just kind of like I said, but I'm an idiot, so I don't know. I'm not running a multi-million-dollar game studio, but when your creators are already writing and telling you to shut this down,
when they can't tell you why they're doing something, it's not for a good reason. But on top of all of that, there's the economic or the ecological impact.
Yeah, touch on that a little bit.
So, for those of you who don't know, NFTs share the same process for their existence, essentially, as crypto mining does, in that they exist on a blockchain and are mined through massive power consumption. I learned just a couple weeks ago that crypto mining results in 38 million tons of pollutants being pumped out into the world every year. Which is a ton of extra that just doesn't need to be there.
Exactly, for something that it really isn't. Yeah, I mean, everybody will tell you that like Bitcoin will be eventually it will be sort of the sort of currency, but it isn't now. And the thing is, it's like the tip of the iceberg. But like, it's also, I saw something the other day, like Bitcoin has its own 1%. So you have these people like only a few hundred people or a few thousand people that are using up this much energy to mine Bitcoin and NFTs and everything. And
you can partition out to mine off of other people's stuff.
Yeah.
There was a virus that spread through a couple of programs last year that took advantage of your computer's processing power to help mine cryptocurrency. One of the most famous one was the Cooking Mama video game that released that was produced by some third-party studio. Allegedly, I don't know how proven this was, but allegedly it took advantage of the processing power on your console to help mine cryptocurrency, and then they got caught. So then they pulled the game from the market for a little while, and they're like, "God, just
Cooking
kidding,
Mama.
guys. Here it is."
That game that I think came free with with the Wii back in the day. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a year full of crazy headlines. The number of times I've seen the word meta and NFT this year makes me want to never hear those ever again. And the fact that Facebook changed their name to Meta is deeply disheartening for that ever being the case.
And look, we're hosting a lot of this stuff on Facebook and YouTube and Google and all this stuff, and they're at the forefront of all of this. It just kind of is.
We know they hear us.
Yeah, we know. So, but anything entrusted to your money being entrusted to get into, to buy into these things run by these major corporations just feels icky.
Yeah,
to me.
And ultimately, games are meant to
be. We're doing this for free. If we had to buy in to be a part of something like that.
Imagine if we took these podcasts and sold them as NFTs through KWTX.
Yeah.
Everyone would not watch this.
Probably. No, probably.
They're already not watching it.
Yeah, exactly. The thing with this is that when it's run by these major corporations, you just have to think that there is something that they, especially these major gaming corporations, which we talked about last week, who are not on the up and up. A lot of them. I mean, some of them are, but like a lot of them are not on the up and up that we've come to find. There's a money-making scheme behind this that maybe we can't see. And like I said, I don't see it now, but you got to think later on down the line that there is something just weird in the works.
Some takeaway from this for me, if you don't want this kind of stuff in your games, if you don't want to have to deal with this when it comes to your kids playing games, because it will become a problem and it will become a problem fast, voice those opinions, vote with your wallet whenever you're picking content, do a little bit of research to know what kind of stuff is being offered through games before you purchase for your kids or even for yourself. And just be aware that this is a thing that's coming to the forefront. Luckily, everyone's been pretty vocal and a lot of this stuff has been shot down immediately. But with Facebook being heavily invested in gaming and Google being heavily invested in gaming and Amazon being heavily invested in gaming, it's unlikely that there will be a strong enough force from just gamers alone, just your standard hardcore gamers alone, to push this back. So just be thinking about that whenever you're going, because it will eventually become a hassle. Games are meant to be accessible and free for everyone to play.
Yeah, there's something weird to me that I've seen over the past day, especially, like I said, I play sports games and FIFA and Madden and 2K. There's just, after you buy the game, having to buy more within the game, or you're just going to have to, I mean, it's more hours on the game for them. And so eventually they think that you're just going to break. And I've done it before. I've bought VC on 2K and just like, I need to get to like a 75 overall because I just literally cannot make shots or anything like that.
You put enough barriers in front of anyone and they'll eventually
get money. And like I have access to, expendable income. Yeah. The fact that you would like somebody's going to get Warzone's free, but somebody's going to get Call of Duty for Christmas. Somebody's going to get 2K for Christmas. Right. These kids are going to, and back in the day, you would think that it was so much fun to have access to, you always had to level up in things like Halo and Call of Duty and stuff like that. But it was so much easier. It used to come from that. It used to come from the grind of doing that. Now you can grind and grind and grind and grind and grind. Yeah, and you would still have to maybe
unlock
pay
the things
money.
that everyone has. And then there's the stuff that's extra that you can pay money for. And so then now the people who have the money to spend on that have those things that you don't have, which makes the game feel, whether it is balanced or not, makes it feel unbalanced.
Yeah, it's not the same sort of thing opening up Call of Duty 2 on Christmas Day and just being able to go run and have fun in that space. It doesn't feel the same to me.
Yeah.
And that's sort of where we were headed if all of a sudden now, but also take into account now you're not paying Activision for this. You're now paying Brad in Wisconsin. I keep using the Midwest, Chad and Brad, but you're paying Mike in Florida.
You decentralize this kind of stuff so much that it eventually becomes, so I got to pay each individual person for the thing I want.
And then all of a sudden they can take it off the market too.
Yeah. So, I think my favorite kind of analogy for NFTs was someone saying, imagine if you ordered something from Amazon and the Amazon delivery guy showed up and he handed you a printed out picture of it and a receipt. And he said, it's on my truck. And you're like, okay, can I have it? They're like, yeah, it's right there. It's the picture and the receipt that proves that picture really is the thing. And that's all you get.
I want it.
There's no physical thing for you. You just got the receipt and proof that that's the real thing. That's it.
And by the way, they can come take that picture back from you if they really want it.
They just do whatever they want with it, pretty much.
Yeah, if the seller all of a sudden, somebody outbought that or whatever, or sold it, and they wanted to take it back, they probably just could. So that's all I have on NFTs. Yeah. It's something that is over my head that I have a baseline knowledge of.
I'm sure we'll end up circling back to it around whenever there's more stories on it, but just want to kind of touch on it and let everyone kind of in on what's been going on with stuff, because it's been getting kind of goofy out there.
Yeah, be on the lookout for it for sure.
Before we sign off for this one, want to just talk about maybe our favorite Christmas memories when it comes to gaming. What's your favorite Christmas related gaming memory?
I got it's two. It's just involved in getting the console. It was I got an N64. Probably well into the days of like the PS2, but I was younger and N64 was great, and Pokemon Stadium and Snap and all that was great getting on Christmas Day. The other one was, I don't know if probably anyone watching this remembers how big the release of Xbox 360 was. Massive. It was insane. You couldn't, people were wrapped around Walmart, people were wrapped around, and we only had like two places maybe in my small hometown to get it. And I remember my dad, I think he definitely stood out in the cold and he got it. Not only that, he got, I don't think he'd like me telling the story, but he got 2, and I think he sold one over cost to a neighbor that needed one for their son. But he got one, and that was the thing too. But also the funniest thing about the Xbox 360 launch is how quickly some of them would crash. I remember that, and then I got one, and then like 2 weeks later, my buddy's
Ring of death.
Yeah, my buddies crashed, and I never got the ring of death or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I remember that, and then having Call of Duty 2 on Christmas Day, and I played that game. I think I wore out that game, to be completely honest.
I think my favorite Christmas memory is getting up. I don't even remember what age I was now. It's so long ago. Getting up Christmas morning, finding just a big box under the tree. Didn't know what it was. Hadn't really asked for much. Didn't even know what to expect. Open it up, pull out my first Game Boy Advance, copy of Pokemon Emerald, and a copy of the Dragon Ball Z Legend of Goku game, and just absolutely losing my mind over that. Just be like, oh, what?
I can't believe I got the thing.
I was like, I didn't even, and then, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
It was just amazing. And, I've been chasing that high ever since.
Didn't they re-release Pokemon Emerald, or which one did they?
Yeah, so they've done a bunch of re-releases. They did Fire Red and Leaf Green, which were re-releases of Red and Green. They did Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which were Silver and Gold. They did Ruby and Sapphire as Alpha Ruby and Omega Sapphire. Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, which are remakes of Pokemon Yellow. And then just this last month, they did Diamond and Pearl remakes.
Right, that's what it was.
I've been having a blast with.
Okay, so yeah, you have
slowly losing my mind shiny hunting with my daughter, looking for shiny Pokemon.
Ever since, yeah, but I've been looking for that same. Now you have to go as an adult. You have to go and buy a PS5, and that hurts.
It does. The monetary
your parents buy it for you.
The monetary cost of gaming can sometimes be a lot. You're just like, I am a grown man, and this is a good decision.
Yeah, I'm going to make sure this is what I want, and not
makes buyer's remorse a lot harder to
not tell my wife. So yeah, that is my favorite. Those are my favorite holiday memories.
Well, thanks for joining me on another episode.
Absolutely.
As always, you can find more of this content on Hardwired on YouTube. And like us on Facebook through the KWTX Facebook page, and find us on kwtx.com/extra. For Hardwired, I'm Andrew Hamilton.
I'm Royden and Andrew.
We'll see you next time.